Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's talk about formation of glucose, a vital macromolecule for biochemistry for survival of the human being by and large. Let us focus on human being by and large. The first biomolecule life is carbohydrate. To start with that, and let's see how this formation is done from the very beginning itself. Let's say Kapil Vriksha is a tree which shows the roots of biochemistry or inorganic chemistry lie in methane plus oxygen put together to form carbon dioxide and water, as you can see in this particular picture which I have shown earlier. An entire biochemistry by and large start with carbon dioxide and water. Water is the Amrit 61.803% and carbon dioxide. Oxygen comes out of water and glucose comes out of carbon dioxide. This is statement which I am making. Now let's understand this concept little more clearly as we proceed from the beginning itself. This was at the time after creation, before it fell on earth to start with. To start with, Earth also, like inner planets like Mercury, Venus and Mars, had 97% carbon dioxide only. And water, it came down. How plants were formed to convert carbon dioxide into carbohydrate and water into oxygen and process. Now we have 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen for the next stage of microbiology are protein, amino acids and nutrients by and large. You can even bring energy molecules thereafter. Now, as I told you in the beginning, started with methane plus oxygen. You can see right on top on the left side how they united together to form carbon dioxide and water. This is the first step of nature as far as chemistry, inorganic chemistry and biochemistry is involved. And as I know, methane is also water, 10 protons. Water also is 10 protons and carbon dioxide has got 22. Is also with respect to Divyank itself. As I told you, 97% Earth was also carbon dioxide to start with, is make very clear. Now comes a photosynthesis with the light sun you can see on top sun. Then you can see the tree now turn the way we see on the earth. The tree which I shown Kapil Vriksha, it was upside down. Roots were in the heaven and this was then, it came from descent from up down. Now it is down to up. From earth, water, ocean, the first unicellular organism was plants in the earth, and that's where the whole process started. Now the plant has become like this. Now we are going to see how from unicellular organism through asexual to sexual to flowers, seeds, and thereafter came to form. Now step 1. Next step, as I told you in the beginning, you can see carbon dioxide plus water on the left side and photosynthesis and trees making it to glucose and tree. This is happening in the plants, in the water, in on the earth. Now they produce glucose. Let's say cell respiration. Let me now restrict to human beings alone. Let me not talk of everything else. Restricting everything what as a human being is required for me to be healthy, wealthy and wise and happy. That's it. Cell respiration is how glucose and oxygen is used by the cells along with water and nutrients to produce energy like ATP, and how in the process carbon dioxide and water is produced in the cell is what I have shown here. This is in the human cell, other is in the plant kingdom, and before that it was universe. Now you see the continuity. Left is universe, second is plants, third is in cells. As a result, carbon dioxide was abundant with water to start with. Now we need to have carbon dioxide enough for the process of photosynthesis for making things for human consumption. Let me forget about everything else. Let's stick to that. Now, amazing equilibrium are meant to maintain because we need to have carbon dioxide, we need to have water for to produce glucose and oxygen for human beings itself. You cannot do without carbon dioxide is something which I am trying to say. Nature thought carbon dioxide was important, was given to us with methane and oxygen itself. Okay, now we need, but the carbon dioxide percentage has to be minimal, not too much. Otherwise, too much a problem can be there. Now, biochemistry starts with from atom, element, molecules, organic compound lead to formation of plants to biochemistry thereafter. Now we are coming to formation in the universe, down in organic chemistry to biochemistry thereafter. Next stage, first to start with unicellular organism, it was asexual creation of all the organism, but now I'm talking about not unicellular but multicellular. But two examples which I have given it for asexual recreation of bananas and onions. Why bananas and onions? Because stem of banana as well onion contain 10 layers to show these are 10 stages of development is that. But at the same time, this particular picture you can see two shoots are coming from the central shoot asexually. And then how leaves are formed, how fruit is formed, how flower is formed, how what is the male and female, you can see in this asexual to sexual creation thereafter. Now let's understand the process very clearly. Now I'll give you an example from Britannic Encyclopedia. Spores are the one to start with asexually, how they come on the top and how they form the plant and how they get converted into male and female and they produce union and produce spores again. This cycle is beautiful. You can understand and maybe leisurely you go through this step by step to understand the concept very clearly. From spores to seed formation takes place like this. Next, having got the seeds, you plant them in earth along with water again. Water, seed, and oxygen, three are the things required. And the first thing which comes is called sprout. And sprout you can develop inside the house without sunlight also. But you need water and oxygen. These two things important. But sprouts can be used as a very good source of proteins from plant kingdom, big grants and things like that. They are useful health very clearly. That is sprouting. Sprouts are coming up. Next comes the stage how they grow into a plant. When they grow into plant, you can see right at the bottom, you have one trunk, two branches, then three branches, then five branches, then eight branches, seventh, it goes on increasing. And this is the pattern which is called Fibonacci sequence, which I would say was given by Pingala 2500 years ago itself. And of course, Yajnavalkya had also spoken about it before that. But Pingala is recorded 450 BC as Misrao Ch I have already shown. This is a pattern of that. This is how the plants grow in this structure. You may not see, I'm talking only of the one which are with Devyank, not anything which is other than that. Let me focus only on truth of Devyank, nothing other than that. Then comes the green planet, green pigment, chloroplast. How it is formed, you can see the structure. And this is what is leads to photosynthesis. Photo mean light, synthesis in plant. To first thing which meant is carbohydrate only. Now we are now coming from methane, oxygen, carbon dioxide, water to glucose plus oxygen for replacing this. Let's see, go to that stage. Now photosynthesis is a cell, the chloroplast you can see in the middle. There are two components which I'm trying to make it very clear. There is light you can see on the top, which is falling on the cell. There is light reaction. But in light reaction, green one, you can see water on top, which is getting converted into oxygen. So it's very clear. There is oxygen in water. There is oxygen in carbon dioxide. But the one which oxygen is formed comes from water, not from carbon dioxide, is something which scientifically proved. So water is responsible for oxygen and carbon dioxide is responsible for producing sugar. Sugar means sweet. It could be glucose. And we are going to see the different things which are required for human beings. I'm not talking of the complete carbohydrate. It is only to with respect to we human being to be in tune with universal consciousness. In the middle you can see ATP and NADPH2. These are two emerging things which come from light reaction used for Calvin cycle to produce carbohydrate. In the process, the reaction comes up. Now, this is the photosynthesis thing, very clear. Water into oxygen, carbon dioxide into sugar. I think things are becoming very, very clear. Next, understand the definition of carbohydrates by chemistry itself. Carbohydrates are large macromolecules. Again, macro means big molecules, it's not small molecule. They consist of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. As I've been telling in the very beginning, first trinity in atomic elemental level was carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen only. It's a first trinity. And as far as inorganic molecules are concerned, it is methane, water, and carbon dioxide. All are with respect to deviant alone. Then carbohydrates have the formula CXH2OY. H2OY completely remains. That means hydrate of the carbon or hydration of carbon is called carbohydrate. So this makes it very clear the universal divine solvent which was made by universe was water alone. You are going to see when water is added to carbon, it becomes carbohydrate. That's it. And percentage of hydrogen oxygen remains same H2O only. Let's leave that formula as it is. Now come to the question of monosaccharides and disaccharides. Now we have come to cholesterol. Monosaccharide means single sugar. And now we are talking of the one which is useful. And disaccharide is two sugars together as one form is disaccharide. So in both the things you can see only trinity. As I've been saying, trinity is the landmark. 1 to 3 is the first step. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, methane, water, carbon dioxide, and here you have glucose, fructose, and galactose. As a monosaccharide, also three things which are important. And disaccharide, you have another three. You have maltose, sucrose, and lactose. But what do you see in maltose? Nothing but two sugars together only as maltose. But when it comes to sucrose, it is fructose plus glucose put together, it is sucrose. When it comes to the lactose, it is glucose plus galactose put together is lactose. So what is common in all the three disaccharides? Glucose is common in all the three. Other three are different as you see on top. And that is the kind of clarity we should have. How nature develops, you know the nature design, then you will have no confusion because you start looking for answers that way. Now we understand these products a little more clearly. Let's take glucose, which is the most important biomolecule carbohydrate, aldose for us as such. The one which is used for energy by and large is glucose only. So C6H12O6 is the formula which is universal. And hexagonal shape is clear. And for hexagonal shape, let me bring Augustus Caculo into the picture, who designed benzene ring and gave the organic formula of this by seeing in vision a snake eating its own tail. That structure gave it a formula of benzene with 6 carbons, and that is what you're going to see. That was the beauty of organic. And organic chemistry without carbon, it is not there. Let it be very clear. Without carbon, it could inorganic. With carbon, it is organic. Now, in this particular section, right at the bottom, I have talked about carbonyl group on either side. The glucose is two types: D-glucose, dextrose, right-sided, and lactose, which is left-sided. You can see the difference. But what is carbonyl group here is CH2OH. You can see at the bottom, both at the bottom. But HOH, which is the second, is reversed in both the cases. You can see it very, very clearly. But hexagonal shape, you can H2OH is on right on top. That's it. Now come to the question of fructose. Is the second carbohydrate which is important. But in this case, you have carbonyl, two carbonyls on either side. That means shape is not hexagonal, it's a pentagonal, 5. But you can see CH2OH on two sides. And that's it. Once that is understood, you know structurally it's different, but formula is same. But why that, we will talk about it as we go on. But one thing is very clear. Fructose cannot be used by the cells as such directly. It's a part of the functions of glycolysis. Glucose to glucose 6 phosphate to glucose 6 phosphate. Glucose, glucose 6 glucose, then glucose 6 phosphate, and then the process goes. It's a third in the step. But first is glucose, then glucose 6. That's it. Third comes, and that is converted, fructose has to be converted to glucose in the liver. That means first three things go in the liver before go to the cell for use in otherwise. That is also something which you have to understand clearly. If fructose has to be used as such. But glucose to fructose is a natural process of cell itself. Let's not go into that. But when you take fructose as such, it has to be converted into glucose to be used. Otherwise, it cannot be used. That's important. I'm going to talk about it as we move on. Third thing, galactose, we come is a third, same formula, C6H12O3, hexagonal shape as like, but both carbohydrates group on the bottom part, but H on one side and OH on other side is in opposite direction in the second part itself. Others remain more or less same. I think if that is understood, I think we can move on to the next stage of circle. Now come to the let's see the formula of glucose and galactose by and large. You see the central figure on top and the right side figure on that. More or less look alike. There's only one change of HOH on both the sides. That is different. Otherwise, it is identical with glucose and galactose. Now we come to disaccharide. It's a maltose is the first choice which nature made. Maltose is nothing but glucose plus glucose only. All the products which are starch are things to start with is maltose, glucose plus glucose. But and this particular picture you can see. When you see the formula, glucose plus glucose should have been carbon 12, H24, O12. But H2 and 1 water content has been removed. That shows even to formation of maltose from 2 glucose, it is the water which is removed. In other words, called dehydration. Now you can understand the importance of water in entire dehydration, rehydration, hydration, hydrolyze, everything. Now you can understand why nature made water as the first thing with 10 protons only, along with methane. That is something to be understood and move on how we have gone on in the structure to go on to the next stage. But near glucose and fructose and cell respiration in the cell produce almost equal amount of carbon dioxide when glucose alone is taken or glucose or and fructose alone is taken. They produce independent only that much equal. But you're going to see change. Sucrose is nothing but glucose plus fructose, and same formula of water is reduced from these two to make a formula. I think now very clear the role of water, dehydration, rehydration, and move on. But here I'm making one point right there. Sucrose is made of glucose plus fructose. Maltose is glucose. But sucrose can produce more carbon dioxide than maltose can produce. That is what I always feel has made a role of 2CH2H and 2 sides in fructose is responsible for giving more carbon dioxide because both the carbons are outside free to move on. And that is the thing we should look at things and have intelligence to understand what could be the process. Unless and we are intelligent enough, you cannot be a super intelligent human being to be in tune with universal consciousness. It should come to you naturally. Something is saying what it could mean, and what could it mean should come to be perfection or impeccable wisdom only. That's what I'm trying to show here. Now comes the question of lactose is glucose plus lactose, same H2 as we removed, and you can see in the same picture. I think we have now clear in that key role of water in disaccharide is the minus of water, and mono minus water gives to the three disaccharides. I think it's very clear. Now come to the question of we coming to starch. Starch is very important long chain of glucose molecules. I make it very clear. There is only glucose in starch, nothing else. And they are bonded together with covalent bonds called glycosidic bonds. You can see at the picture down how they are bound together by glycosidic branch, which is different from what you can almost see the same thing in disaccharides also. Typical starch is referred to as a polysaccharide. Poly means many sugars because it contains many sugars together. And that when I talk of sugar, we are coming to what is glucose part as such because in carbohydrates, mono, this it is glucose which stands out. In disaccharide to polysaccharide, it is like that. Now, polysaccharide, now this picture I'm showing you how in the starch CH2O5, you have taken water out and we are taking each as such, but water is taken out. And this formula is just to give an idea between two, it is water which is removed. Let's leave it at that. Let me not go by the formula of C6H10 12. Let me have the disaccharide 2 itself of C12H22. All thing maltose are the two things which are put together. I would put maltose put together rather than starch alone because formula remains to be same. Now I am bringing honey into the picture purposely. Why am I bringing honey when we are talking about carbohydrate? Because a much better combination taken in one spoon every day in one form or other, and the 10 benefit it has got, for that I'm talking about. But what is the honey composition as such? Honey is one thing which is produced by bees, honey bees. It has got 40% fructose and 30% glucose. That means glucose content in honey is lesser than fructose. It is not like sucrose where you have 50-50. But here 40% is fructose and 30% is glucose. That ratio is maintained. Rest of the things are indifferent. Let's not talk about that. But main between fructose and glucose, 40% fructose, 30% glucose is thing. So what are the benefits? Since there is more fructose, which will take longer time to get converted into glucose, then blood sugar level is reduced, even more than what you see in sucrose itself. Second thing, they are probiotic. They are good for life. Then they have beautiful skin and healthy skin they produce. It has an antifungal, antibacterial infection, soothes cough and cold clearly. It has reduces ulcers, healing ulcers, boosts memory, helps with seasonal allergies, provides nutrient, and also heals burns and treat wounds by and large. So these are the many things which honey is much more beneficial than sucrose or starch and otherwise. But it has to be limited only small quantity as a therapeutic value. You cannot live on honey instead of sugar otherwise. It's not advisable. Just 1 teaspoon a day in different forms is more than enough for the day. That's it. Now come to the question of understanding the structure of digestive system in three kinds of animals. Let's see carnivorous animal which eat non-vegetarian like lions and cats. In that digestive system is very small. On the right side you can see herbivores like cows and camels which live on grass as cellulose. And digestive system is much longer than carnivorous, and in the middle you have fructose which is between the two. Fructose animals resemble like birds and human beings. Birds can fly, so can human mind can fly. The other animals cannot do. So that way we have the liberty of they fly in the air by themselves. We fly the mind to the universal consciousness. We have the same capacity of birds. So we eat what birds should eat. What do they eat? Vegetarian. frugal, small quantity, and fructivorous one, like your seeds, fruits, breeds, vegetables, fresh, and things like that. And that's one part. And one thing which I'm making very clear in this also, first thing which comes to play is alpha amylase from saliva, which starts the digestion of carbohydrate in the mouth itself. Digestion of carbohydrate starts in the mouth with salivary alpha amylase itself. Protein digestion in the stomach in acidic medium, and fats in large intestine in alkaline medium. We will talk about it as mu. But I'm giving you a thing. In neutral thing, it is a mouth with salivary alpha amylase with all the carbohydrates start digestion. We will talk about it in the next one little more. Now come to the question of salivary glands. You have three: parotid, sublingual, and submandibular glands. We'll not go into detail, but I am making a statement at the bottom, an amazing divine design of nature. If suppose you have fasted and you want to eat food, the first thing is take cooked starch, eat in the mouth, digest it. Because cooked starch is converted into maltose, as I told, starch into maltose with alpha amylase. Maltose is further digested glucose plus glucose, I have already shown. Why? Because when you take an empty stomach, food taken into the stomach, blood will go. Then brain will be deprived in a heavy meal if it is not taken with something like starch slowly to increase the blood sugar level in the beginning and then eat slowly over a period. That's what Ayurveda says. Eating should be like liquids, not solids. Whole thing should become small part in the mouth before they're swallowed. Half the digestion of carbohydrate should be finished in the stomach, in the mouth itself, before going to stomach and before going to intestines. I think that is a beautiful example of Ayurveda. Eat slowly, convert food into liquids in the mouth itself, let the digestion of carbohydrates start in the mouth with alpha amylase itself. Interesting. Second, now we are going to come to, as I've been saying, we are creating a Mahagranth called Divyang Sutra hereafter. First part is the one which is designed for that. Second one is going to be continued how we have moved up to this particular stage from before creation, during creation, thereafter. From that is the integrated spiritual science. If you want to listen to that, good. If you don't want, you can stop it. I have no issues. But giving a sequence and finally making it to one document in every document, more slides, but less talk, but they can see. I want at the end should be one document, maybe 100, even 1,000 slides, doesn't matter. I have the provision to convert it 4K, even 1 hour, 2 hours, even 3 hours. We can do it. But I want at the end a sequence which to be maintained of impeccable wisdom of Devyang Sutra alone, and which should have a divine mathematics and symbols in the core only, not peripheral thing. We want to avoid all the confusion which is there. And this is like a review of whole thing from very beginning for the person to see the sequence overall. Now there comes this particular wisdom of a, what do you call it, Divyang Sutra is from Akhand Bharat. I also call it Sindhu Rashtra. This is land from which it has come. I have already explained this need not necessary because all surrounded by water alone of Sindhu. That's it. Next, the whole process of universal energy, according to Sanatana Dharma or Akhand Bharat, very clearly, this particular land I was referring to, makes it very clear from Ved Upanishad itself. The beginning process is only from Atma, and that Atma is the soul from which everything has come, everything is dissolved, everything goes finally, everything is sustained. It is a creator, it is a developer, it is a mature. First stage of creation, 10th stage of development, and maturation. All the three are associated with universal consciousness. And the source is from Atman, is one thing which I'm making clear. And Atman is nothing but noble gases, inert dark matter, like helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon only. Having done that, we move on to the next stage. Now, over and over, I'm making it very clear With Atma, we learned zero. It was called Shunya in Rigved itself, in 10th chapter itself. Whole thing started with Atma, which was Shunya, the dot, and which appeared. And dot is what I call zero. That is what I call Atma. That is starting for the universal consciousness. And that is inert matter. You can call it neon 21, I would call it. Or argon 40, I can call it. And that was the dot because everything was centered in the core, meteors, and external electrons were focused on the center. And as I've also shown, left side to the right side, size reduces. That's it because everything is getting centralized. All the neon gases have lesser orbital shape, size compared to left-sided thing, which has less protons and neutrons. But this has got smaller size. In the process of understanding mathematics, because I am a divine mathematician. I understand divine mathematics. As a result, only in divine mathematics we can understand all the sciences, otherwise not possible. Conclusive mathematics is important, which is required. And that's what I said. Zero is the first one we start with. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 12, 13 things have come in the beginning first step. And that is how it was revealed to me, my inner soul, called helium 4 Aditi itself. Now I'm going to show how this was generated. I understood the prime numbers by and large. I'm not talking about prime numbers, I said, because 2, 4, and 8 are not prime. Not all that. They have a thing. But primary numbers mean useful numbers. Now, first thing we start is a 0 and then surrounded by circle with 9 particles. You can see it very clearly. Second stage is 7 is the divine number. I was made to understand 7 is the divine number, and anyone who understands divine number would understand mathematics clearly. When you divide 1 by 7, it should be equivalent to 142,857 only. 6 digit 142,857 is my Atma telling me this is the only number you should know. You should not know any other number. And when they made me understand point 1 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 8, 8 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 1, shape is done. That bottom part you can see is a pentagon shape there with a dot in the middle. Second stage, India talks about Shakta triangle, evolutionary triangle, triangle which takes you energy up, rising. And when that is put together in the spot which 3, 6, and 9 were not touched. So divine triangle of 3, 6, 9 touches those parts. As a result, you have now 10 numbers. But you center, you see, there are 7 numbers only. What was 5 has become 7. Very interesting. And this was called Enneagram by the West, and they understand only male God. Right up to this is the picture they have recognized. Beyond that, they had not recognized in divine mathematics. That is the reality which I am trying to prove it. Second comes, I was made to understand in India, Akhand Bharat, Shakta and Shakti are two important parts. If Shakta is 38.1966%, Shakti is 61.8034%. Now you take a Shakta triangle, put first, and now put a Shakti triangle exactly opposite to that. You create 3 more numbers, 10, 11, and 12 you can see, which is opposite of 3, 6, and 9 by and large. Now you have the goddess of 10, 11, and 12 put together. Now you have 13 spots within that. But you see in the middle, what was 5 became 7. Now it has become 10. Interesting. Let's see. Now, when that particular number is converted into this, I was made to understand there is another divine number which is very, very important in Akhand Bharat, and that number is 108. Now, 12 zodiac signs are there, 12 hours are there, 12 nights are there, is the 12 part I have already shown. But then you have 9 Navagrahas, important. 12 into 9 is 108. That is something which is one coincidence of 108's importance. 12 into 9 is 108. And these are the two things we always talk about it. When we are Rashis, our zodiac signs, only 12. And in Navagraha, there are 9. Now you're going to see Navagraha. Now in this picture, I'm showing the Navagrahas, which are Mercury, Venus, Moon, Jupiter, Sun, Mars, and Saturn. 7 are well known already. But there is a confusion in 2 numbers. One is called Rahu, another is called Ketu. Rahu and Ketu has been shared as a polarity explained by the thing, but I do not agree with that. The description of Rahu is nothing but Earth alone. Example given about eclipse fits into Rahu very clearly, how Earth plays a role in eclipse. And then Ketu is like a scattered body, is what asteroid belt is. So I'm making Ketu as asteroid belt and Rahu as Earth. As a result, you have 9 things very, very important in that. So you have brought Earth and asteroid belt along with the rest of the thing to prove that 9 are the most important. That means Sun to start with, then Mercury, then Venus, then Earth, then Moon, then Mars, then you have asteroid belt, then you have Jupiter, then you have Saturn. Right from Sun to Saturn is the thing which can influence the life of human beings and other things. Where Rahu and Ketu are Earth and asteroid belt. I think now astronomy, astrology, and this concept is becoming very clear. That's it. Now come to the stretching of divine mathematics in Mantra Shastra. In this, you can see I have the heart chakra, which Bhakti Yoga people believe is that. And in that, you can see 1, 3, 6, 12, 24, 48, 96 is again multiples of 3 only. I am not going to detail. This is another thing with Mantra Vidya, Mantra Ganit Vidya as such. Now we go to the starting of the universe to start with at the level before it started. Nirankar, Nirgun, Brahman, the formless omnipresent is something which everything started, and I would compare that with xenon. First inert matter, most unstable, cannot be seen, even scientists are not able to see, but the possibility of helium, neon, argon, krypton, and xenon, these are 5 things is very, very important. Xenon is the one I would bring it with the Nirankar, Nirgun, Brahman. Last 2 stages I will not go into detail. But this is again I am bringing it to show the power of 108. In xenon, you have 54 electrons going outside, but inside the nucleus has got 108. That means 54 protons and 54 neutrons are inside. I'm not talking about what science talks about it. We are talking about the uniform number. Together it could be 162. But what is important, inside is 108, outside is 54. Leave it at that. Then first manifestation of xenon comes to is Sakar Sargun Brahman. This has the potential of presenting itself, and I call it with krypton with a power of 108. That is second unstable inert matter which is there. And in this you can see 108 as such. 36 proton, 36 electron, 36 neutron put together 108. Is it a coincidence or divine plan? It is something which I want to say. Nature, whatever rishis of Akhand Bharat talk about it, is only the science of impeccable wisdom and very specific to the point of Divyang, which has helped me to recognize Divyang for the first time in the history of mankind in 2015. For the first time in the history of mankind, and making it very clear. And all these documents have given me the idea how to move on to that. Now, this I'm going to show reflective part of 108 in our universe from an angle which should surprise everybody. Sun and Mother Earth is, let's take example. Distance between Sun and Earth is equivalent to 108 suns as I've shown in this particular picture. It cannot be coincidence. Second thing, diameter of Sun is as large as 108 Earths itself. Is it surprising? Between Earth and Sun, 108 suns can do, and 108 Earths can be on top of the Sun itself. Amazing. What a precision. And I'm taking into distance given by the mathematicians. I'm not talking from my mind. I'm not taking ancient things. It's something what mind is shown by the different people at Sun. That's it. Now come to the third stage. Earth is come from Sun, but Moon is from Earth. So between moon and earth also 108 moons can fit in. Amazing. Between earth and moon under it, between earth and sun 108 suns, and on sun 108 earths. What a coincidence. Now you can understand the importance of 108, why I'm talking about why that is important in universal consciousness. That's it. That is one of the reasons I made a new symbol for Akash course as a pentagon with 5 sides, and each one is 108 alone. Now you can understand the energy form which was not at all given by anybody else. I gave Divyang, I gave it the form of plasmatic state, Akash Bhuta, as 540 degrees. That means 360 of earth, water and Vayu plus 150 of Agni put together are 540, and converting to this thing to show importance of 108, why Akhand Bharat talked of a rosary of 108 beads only, not anything else. Now I am trying to bring divine mathematics into the picture. I am not talking of something which is inconsistent. See how many examples I've given. But everything, every angle, it fits into that. And that is what impeccable wisdom is all about. Now come to the next stage, a formation of the universe as such. Mahabrahman, greater universe, is formed by Adi Prashakti. Adi means first, Prashakti is absolute mother. And it has got 18 arms. You can see 9 on either side are the arms in this particular picture. It's very old picture. People have things against gods and goddesses, but they don't see the mathematical beauty in that. This picture has shown me that is 18 arms mean 18 electrons. That means 9 plus 9. And that is what argon is all about. Argon has 18 protons, 18 neutrons, 18 this. But I go for the one which goes further as argon 40. That means 18 electrons, 18 protons, and 22 neutrons. That is what produces the next stage for Mahabrahman. Now come to Mahabrahman, that's the time when Adi Prakshakti, the first goddess, divine mother, came. And in this picture you can see the same mother who has got 3 gods in her heart, her abdomen, or the womb, or Hiranyagarbha. But who are those 3 gods? You can see very clearly. One is Brahma on the left side, Vishnu in the middle, and Shiva on the right side. This is not a picture made by me. This is a picture available about the Brahman, Mahabrahman itself. You can see the picture. Somebody has done it. I am using it to show the same beauty. Same since Saraswati is a consort of Brahma, Lakshmi of Vishnu, Parvati of Shiva is also the same thing, which I see in Trikuta mountain, and also goddess Vaishnavi's 3 pindis. Now, this is again Trinity in praising. Now come to the fourth level of goddess Gayatri, from which spiral galaxy and solar system is developed. As in Adi Prashakti, you have 18 arms, but in goddess Bharati is only 10 arms and 5 heads. So 5 heads represent 5 Shivas, and 10 arms of 10 Vishus, and lotus of Brahma. This is so beautiful. So much of wisdom is there. And you can see sun on the back, you can see water, you can see everything. And all the things are there. This is universal. And in spiral galaxy also there are 10 suns, and in solar system there are 10 planets, and human body 10 endocrine system, autonomic system, 10 chakras. Is it coincidence? No, it is divine plan. It again goes, neon 21 has got 10 protons, 10 electrons, and 11 neutrons, because that goes to important to say, if organ 40 has got 40, there is a symbol of 22. I make it very clear. We talked of 108. Now in argon 40, it's 22 neutrons. But in this, 11 neutrons. And I say it all started from that. That importance I'm going to show you as I come to that particular stage. Now comes to stage of, that was creation before. During creation, neon 21 plus neon 21 got together, fused together to form neon 21, and that was the light. And that converted into 10 Panchbhutas and other stages, and all atom element as you see in periodic table came from there only. That's it. Now, since I did talk about Surya, I did talk about 11 and also talked about 22, you're going to see the beauty of that in this particular Aditya. Aditya is one, according to Chandogya Upanishad, is the teacher which it talks about. If we have to understand universal consciousness, we got to understand Aditya, who is a Brahman, who is our teacher, who is everything. And I very clearly understand the core is there from Aditya itself. And I call Aditya as hydrogen itself, the smallest thing which is most abundant in the universe. Coming to hydrogen, smallest atom element, maximum in the world is Aditya or hydrogen alone. Now come to the next stage. One person I have great respect for is Maharishi Yajnavalkya. And in this picture is not my pictures taken from internet, which shows Yajnavalkya is praying to Saraswati only. One, Saraswati, the knowledge. Om is that, and that is focus on that. Second thing, he is praying to Surya for the knowledge. For him, the Guru was only Surya, Saraswati, Om only. And that is what I talk about spiritual sciences of Akhand Bharat. And this was something which happened 5,000 years ago in India. And he made it clear there is no man fit enough to be your Guru. Your Atma has to be Guru. Your son has to be Guru. Saraswati has to be Guru. Om has to be Guru. I think that is what I totally agree. That's the reason I believe I would like to put it that way because I also believe in the same concept. Now, coming to the core of the sun, you have 6,000 degrees centigrade temperature. In that, as I said, Aditya is hydrogen, you can see on top. 4 hydrogen atoms put together, fused together to form helium 4. And which is Aditi, which is our divine mother, our indwelling consciousness of human being, Aditi. The Aditi which comes from there becomes our indwelling soul. As a result, Aditi is able to give us the knowledge of Aditya, solar system as a universal consciousness. That's why it's very clear. Hydrogen is the most abundant. Second in the nature is helium only. These are the two ones which are abundance, which are going to give us knowledge of the entire universe itself. So why look for somebody else? When you have Antaratma, Aditi, which comes from Aditya, within ourselves, is capable of giving, why are we looking beyond that? They will give you also perfect answer because they are omnipresent, omniscient, omniscient. But unless until we are in tune with universal consciousness within yourself, you cannot understand the external world at all. And maybe that because I'm connected from inside, I'm able to produce 8 hertz alpha frequency throughout the brain with eyes open itself, which no one in the world has ever done. Nobody has given the world the kind of symbols which I'm giving. No one in the world has given Deving before me because my knowledge comes stem from Aditi, Aditya, and universal consciousness only. That's it. Now come to the stretch, bringing that 11 and 22 very clear. Sun is the teacher for me, and you see North Pole to South Pole, it takes 11 years to travel. From South Pole to thing, it takes another 11 years to go. And that is the importance of Devyank. Is it coincident? I'm only talking about divine mathematics as I see in the universe as seen by mathematicians. I'm not talking of anything from my pocket. It is not a philosophy. And this is a picture from internet of the scientists of the world who are working on astronomy itself. Now another picture which I'm breaking it very, very clear here. Upanishads say very clearly that solar system is made of 21 parts. And to go beyond that, you need 22nd part at the first creation. That is what is Brahma all about. But here I'm showing these 21 parts are divided into 3 components. Earth is made of 7 parts. Atal to Patal, I have already shown. Then, as far as Antariksh is concerned, atmosphere is concerned, is connected with 7 chakras, which Tantra talks about it. And then 7 higher loks, Bhur, Bhava, Swa, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satyam, which Mahagayatri mantra talks about it, are the high 7 levels. Earth 7, Antriksh 7, Heaven 7 is one thing which is very clear on this part. And then go beyond the solar system. So now Upanishad is also talking about 20 to 21. And other thing is very clear. Now, do we see that in physicalized self as a scientist? Let's move on to that. Now, as I say, if I see a human cell under a compound microscope, I can see only three parts: cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. As you can see, only trinity you can see, nothing more than that you can see. But when I see the same thing under electron microscope, I can see 21 parts. That's right. But there is one part in this 21 part called centrosome, which gets into two centrioles at the first stage of creation. So 21 parts of human cells, when they create, they become 22 part. I have already explained. Now you see 22 by 21, Brahmank 8, you see in that. Now we are opening a new mathematics of healthy. And as I told you, 10 is the 10 stage development. I have shown you in beginning of banana and onion itself. Now, from this formation, we come to the formation of solar system, spiral galaxy, as well as human being. Now, I have put on human beings picture, which is like a banyan tree, 22 by 21. What does it mean? The number of bones in the brain, surrounding brain, protecting brain, are 22 bones. Out of 22 bones, 21 are fixed together and one is free. The one which is free is a mandible, which gives us expression to express ourselves. Is it a coincidence? No, because this is also something which Chandogya Upanishad also talks about it, other Upanishads also talk about it, and science also talks about it. And then the 10 chakras, the 10 stage development is also I've spoken. That means right at the first stage of creation, 22 by 21, and stage of development 10 was known to me even as a child itself. I'm very clear. Before I got into spiritual science of Kundalini Yoga, I knew these two, and they were represented in my first book, Akhand Universal Consciousness, way back in 2002 itself. Up to this, I knew very well there was nothing at all because very descriptive information was available in Akhand Bharat from Ved, Upanishad to scriptures. I had no doubt at all. But when come to the question of Shiva coming up, that was done at a later date in 2014 and 15. That process I will explain later. How did I go to that stage for the first time in history of mankind? How I use the mathematics in a very natural way to unfold. We are going to see at a later date. But now everything is formed in the universe and they came down with the help of Indra, the king of gods. He was a king. He was a great person. He was water. He was red. He brought everything down, and that descent of goddess is also can be related, and this is something which Yajnavalkya also talked about it. Shri Arvind also talked about it, and I also experienced that even by the time I was 7 years old. Antaratma I was born with. This came and gave me the knowledge of higher levels even as a child within 7 years itself. I think that is awakening to me Aditi as my inner consciousness, goddess Gayatri as external goddess to make me understand the concept very clearly. And if you are in tune with universe, these things are going to come to you automatically without you asking, because the natural process of divine itself. And this is a descent of Mahashakti, you call it, atom elements, you call it. And this is what has been spoken by many people, including me. Now from that, having brought it down to earth, you can see the earth water, and then mineral kingdom came from thereafter. Atom, element, molecule, compound, cells developed from there as a mineral kingdom. Mineral kingdom is the first step, descent, mineral kingdom. Next is the plant kingdom which is formed, and that's what we are talking about now. And having understood the plant kingdom, then we can move on to the next, to the human kingdom. And human kingdom, we have come to the stages of 10 stages, which called Dasavatar. Starting with fish is the first thing in vertebral column in human beings also, and other things. Right up to 10, I have understood, right up to Kalki Avatar is all of us can experience it within ourselves. Perfection is within that. Every living human being, reptilian brain gives you the inner consciousness, unconscious, subconsciousness, and mammalian gives you with the four legs of emotion, society, otherwise, and human brain gives you the concept to think rationally and be logical. But up to these three stages are well known to the scientists of the world, mathematicians of the world. But one thing which they do not know, unfortunately, is an unexplored, unknown human brain, which I said outer three layers of the neocortex. What are its functions are not known to the neuroscientists of the world even today. First person who recognized three outer layers as the one as an antenna to Akash Kosh, Schumann resonance field, ionosphere of 7.83 Hz is the divine register there. First person who has shown, demonstrated part of my PhD work was to be in tune with universal consciousness. If ionosphere is 7.83, I can produce 8 Hz frequency throughout the brain with eyes open. I am in tune. That is something which I am making very clear. Even neuroscientists of the world are even not aware of it, three outer layers, what their functions are. And I have used it as antenna to bring this wisdom to the world. And that makes human being the most evolved thing. And that is what Akhand Bharat is talking about. Human brain is most evolved. It's in par with universal consciousness. It can do all what universal consciousness can do. But unfortunately, people have not used it. And because of failure, we have to move on to that. And Divyank is result of that. My whole concept is based on that level of universal consciousness, which is part of Turiya of Om. A, U, Ma is known, but Turiya is not known. But Turiya is the one which is designed very beautifully to be in tune with you. And that is what Mandukya appreciation is all about. Again, 22 by 21. Very good. And you are in tune with universal consciousness. What more do you want? That's it. Now, as a result, I am able to produce 8.5 hertz stream throughout the brain with eyes closed. But with eyes open, I am able to produce 8 hertz, uniform, potent, high amplitude, and very coherent, provident 8 hertz frequency, like what Patanjali Yosuk talking about is in Samadhi Parinama, Ekagrata, Nirodha, and Samadhi, all the things what he talked about as alpha spindle, and I am showing that which he talked about it 3000 years ago. Amazing. But that is what Akhand Bharat has given to the world. But people who have not even seen at that call it a babbling, I can't do anything about it. Now, prime objective of human being is to the perfect every. I'm not going to detail of this because I already spoken quite a lot. And reason is because of ignorance and not interested in learning the wisdom is the root cause for all our failures. And second is divine peace, as I told you very clearly, hydrogen carbon is first, and methane water is that I have already explained. And then inner planet to start with, between Sun and asteroid belt. All the four of them, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, had 97% carbon dioxide. 3 continues to have that. As a result, you have yellow orange color in 3. But Earth carbon dioxide has been used up by plant kingdom to convert into 21% oxygen and 78% nitrogen. As a result, it's become blue. It's not yellow. That's it. Yellow is the color of Swadhisthana chakra as such, where you Venus and those consciousness is close. That is something which has happened, and I make it very clear we can move on because we have more oxygen required for us with glucose to be used to be survive in this atmosphere, which no other planet has got the possibility as on date. Science is also talking about, and we also talk about it. Now, as sexual reproduction, I've already told in the beginning, as a repetition, I'll just go through that. It started with that without seeds, then the same process which I've shown, and then spores and how they were formed. A reproductive cell can develop into new individual cells without fusion, and this is something which you have already spoken about it. Then how they get converted from spores to seed formation, I've already spoken about it. Then basic from plant kingdom, how they develop from seed to spore as the first part, I've already spoken. Then how they are converted into different branches, how they develop, and fibronesis I've already spoken. And then photosynthesis, how this is converted into carbohydrate by and large. And then how banyan tree or people tree plays important, its shape is the Weyerink ratio like that, and this can produce oxygen 24/7. That's why people prefer to be under banyan trees because it can give you oxygen 24 hours, and that is what maintain the world, in particular Akhand Bharat, very clearly. Then this particular thing I've already spoken how water is converted into oxygen and carbon dioxide and carbohydrate. I've already explained in the beginning. Then next in this particular thing also spoken, I think there are 10 stages of glucose. Glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate and fructose 6-phosphate is the first three steps in the cell itself. And that is cellular respiration which I am talking about. Now I'm making it very clear. We have come to cellular respiration and that's. And then how we've gone on to next stage of deviant by and large to understand how concept is taking place by and large. And then we come to the end of this particular stage and say we have completed this process of formation of carbohydrate by and large. And I think that should be enough for the day. Thank you very much.